So I thought that given the popularity of my video review on Motor Illustrated's fledgling YouTube channel on my own Volkswagen Golf Sportwagen, that I would do a little 2-year update. Now, I can tell you right off the cuff, I still absolutely love this car. I've only got 16,000 kilometers on it, give or take 10,000 miles. I would put a lot more, but hey, COVID happened, right? So I can't go anywhere, and with the family or without. Now, I think what's most important to share here are the issues that I've had with the car, and there aren't that many. The remote battery is turning into a problem. In the first year and a half, or the battery lasted the first year and a half. Then in the last 7 months or so, I've had to replace it again. And I'm thinking that's gonna happen more often. Not a serious problem, cheap battery, but whatever. Of the more serious issues that I've had with the car, the door harness on the driver's side actually cut itself, I guess, at one point or another. So I lost all controls in the door while I was driving. So no power windows, no power door locks, and an error message and all kinds of other issues. Obviously, that was covered under warranty, but I thought that was very strange. Another issue that I've had, and well, that was to be expected, this massive, gigantic panoramic sunroof. Now, in the 2 years and 2 months that I've had it, it's leaked twice. The first time when I made a complaint at the dealership, they said they never heard about it, but obviously they knew it because something like 3 months later, Volkswagen issued a recall. Essentially, it's the drains at each end that just get gummed up. And now, well, it's been fixed. That pretty much summarizes the issues that I've had with the car. What I have discovered, because I did drive to Florida last year with the car, so 7,000 kilometers to and fro in less than 2 months, is that my mid-trim cars, well, leatherette seats seriously lack lumbar support. I actually had to buy a gel-filled cushion from Walmart, thankfully it was on special, in order to survive a long trip. Otherwise, this car still remains extremely spacious and very agreeable to drive. I'll mention that again once I get back behind the wheel. One of my favorite elements of this car, obviously it's a wagon, it's the hatch, and it is this, the handle, which serves, we'll keep going, to protect the camera, which is behind there, so it never actually gets started. Oh, and that reminds me, very early on the ownership, which is another common problem for Volkswagen since the 4th generation, is the automated latch down here actually ends up not latching the door completely up here and when you close it, so you have to repeatedly close it. That was fixed under warranty very quickly. Now the boot remains extremely spacious, one of the best ones in my opinion, even better than most compact SUVs. And just to give you an idea of what happens is that the drains, when they plug up, the headliner up here gets completely wet, and you can obviously and immediately tell that there's an issue. That, my friends, is essentially it. I've had no other problems with this car, and I still very much enjoy driving it. So let's go for another little spin and we'll explore what this Sportwagen can do. This is how you can tell when your Sportwagen's panoramic sunroof has leaked inside your car. Check out the headliner. So, what's the best part about driving my Mark 7 Golf Sportwagen? Honestly, I think it still comes down to the way the chassis is tuned. The combination or compromise-free mix between comfort and handling, despite this being a station wagon, is absolutely spot on. Volkswagen has managed to do this for generations of their cars, and it absolutely remains true in this car. Of the choices that I made with my Sportwagen, 4Motion was an absolute must, and it is a reactive type system. Finally, we did get some snow after, by mid-January, and I'm reminded that yes, I mean, if you really want to get it to swing around, you got to push it a little bit. because it will have a tendency to understeer, but you know what? It does exactly what it was designed to do, which is give you forward momentum when you need it, when the conditions get slippery. Steering, still very nice. Of all the electric power steering systems, this is still one of the nicer ones where there's next to no on-center feel. Yes, I'm on my Nito SM3 winter tires, so it is a little bit sloppier than usual, or has a little bit of slop, I should say, but otherwise it's still great. I like the brakes, could use a little bit more braking power, but that is only due to a very specific situation, which is what I experienced driving to and fro Florida last year, just before COVID essentially killed everyone's dreams for 2020, with almost 400 pounds of stuff in the car and in the box on the roof, the kids and the two adults up front. Yeah, sometimes when I did get it up to speed, I could have used a little bit more braking power, but maybe that's just me. But what isn't me, is especially in that situation, the 1.8 turbo and its 170 horsepower still remains. The only thing that bothers me is the wrong way to say it, because it still has plenty of torque at low RPM, and it gives you just enough punch and pull when you need it. But yeah, going from say 55 to 75 miles per hour for a passing maneuver did get a little dicey on occasion, and even when I'm alone in a car, I could use a little bit more punch. And I will be absolutely frank with you, I am regularly on Unitronic's website, looking at a stage 1 update. It's not that pricey, but it's considerably pricier than I probably should spend on this car. The main reasons, not price, why I'm not doing it, well, there are two main reasons. One being voiding the warranty, which I would hate to do should something go wrong under the hood of this car. And the other one, well, it's the extra power itself. I mean, the clutch is doing fine. I mean, like I said, this car barely has over 10,000 miles, 16,614 kilometers, and it's not suffering from absolutely anything. It's as good as new, given that most of the mileage that I've put on this car has been on the highway, something like, I don't know, 12,000 kilometers of the 16 have been done on the highway, which partially explains why I'm averaging about 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers overall. But yeah, the extra power, because that Unitronic Stage 1 increases horsepower to like 240 and torque up to 270. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I'm afraid that might damage my little clutch. And because I'm still making payments on the car, I don't want to be stuck with an expensive clutch repair job. Now, speaking of the clutch, the decision that I've made, and well, it wasn't a decision, it was going to be that way or not at all, was selecting the 6-speed manual transmission. It is still as great as Volkswagen has always made them. In fact, I do own a couple of other manual transmission Volkswagens, and at the very least, since the Mark I Golf, the Rabbits, they've been fantastic. My 412, it's a little bit more finicky. How about that? We'll use that word again. Time's up. If you wanted to buy one of these new, it's over. But there are a number available in the used car market, and I'm essentially telling you that there is nothing else like this car available today, and there will be nothing else available like it anytime soon. In fact, it will be unique, especially with the manual transmission, the all-wheel drive, the turbo, the long roof. I love this car. To this day, 26-ish months later, I still absolutely love getting behind the wheel of my own personal Golf Sportwagen.